Welcome back to the channel, gamers. I am super excited for today's video because we're gonna unbox and give our first-hand impressions of Mobapad's Chit 2 Pro controller. And I can't lie, Mobapad has set the bar pretty high for themselves already because I feel like they made the best third-party Joy-Con for the original Switch. Now, the Chit 2 is a pro-style controller that a lot of creators and members of the gaming community are already saying feels just as good or even better than the original Switch 2 Pro controller. And that's quite the statement because the Switch 2 Pro controller is one of the best controllers I've ever used. And a lot of that goes back to the super buttery smooth analog sticks they have. And the Chit 2 promises a similar feeling with their TMR Glide analog sticks, which on paper already takes it a step further than the Nintendo Switch 2 Pro controller because these analogs are TMR. But another feature that the Chit 2 has that is very similar to the Switch 2 Pro controller is the ability to wake up your Switch 2 console. And I know you might be thinking that doesn't sound like a big deal, but most third-party accessories can't wake up your system with it. And once you have that and see how convenient it is, it's really hard to go back. So that's already a win before we even open the box. And before we dive into it, I love to give a disclaimer. Mobapad sent me the Chit 2 for this review, but they did not pay me for positive thoughts. So everything you're hearing is actually how I feel about the controller and my original thoughts. Now, that being said, let's dive into the controller. Okay, moving on to the box itself. As you can see, we have a picture of the Chit 2 Pro controller right up front. We have the Mobapad logo in the corner here, and then in the upper corner, you can see Mobapad Chit 2 mechanical controller. Now, it says mechanical controller because most of, if not all of these buttons, including the D-pad, are gonna be mechanical buttons. And if you don't know what I mean by that, it's what gives it that like clicky tactile feel. Sliding over to the sides, nothing there. Over on the back though, it is gonna highlight some of the awesome features of this controller. So up first, we have NFC support. That means you can scan and use your amiibos on this controller. We get the TMR joysticks, and it doesn't mention they're the glide sticks there. So they're supposed to kind of simulate and feel like the Switch 2 Pro controller. TMR joysticks are like actually fantastic. We get 6-axis motion controls. We get a settings button, and why they'd point that out is that's kind of how you calibrate and set up your back paddles. 10 mechanical buttons. So yeah, that's what's going to give you that satisfying clicky sound. And then you'll see mode switch. So even though this controller is built with the Switch and Switch 2 in mind, you can use this with your PC and Steam Deck. Again, we're going to get 2 different back paddle buttons there, and then you'll see charging contact pins. Now, I just got the regular controller sent over to me. You can buy it either packaged in or separate. There's an awesome charging pad that you can put on your desk. It has RGB and everything. It looks fantastic, and that's the point of contact. So if you set that on the stand, it'll charge your controller wirelessly. Alrighty, let's tear right into this bad boy. Let's not waste any more time. Their packaging is always super simple and satisfying. I love it. We are gonna slide this lid off. This thing is fitting like a glove. And boom, here we have our controller. Got a little Mobapad call out there. Probably takes you to their social media channels. This is gonna be our settings guide, which I might actually need this. And then it does come with a USB-C charging cord. Opening that same bag I almost missed, we do have a regular D-pad option. Now, you probably saw in the box, it comes with a satellite-style D-pad, but you can switch it out for this regular one. Alrighty, and that's it for the box. And now for the grand reveal of the controller itself. Wham! Look how awesome this thing is. Now, I did grab the black colorway of the Chit 2, but there's also a all-white colorway, and then there's a white with like a pinkish blue colorway on there. It's like a gradient style. That one looks incredible as well. And I gotta say, right out of the box, the analog sticks absolutely do feel like the Switch 2 Pro controllers. I grabbed my Switch 2 Pro controller here, and you can see by the shape of the analogs, they look very, very similar there. And I gotta say, they feel super, like, incredibly similar. This almost feels a little bit softer. It feels like the rings on the edges of the analog stick feel a little bit like squishy. I don't even know if I'm describing it right, but these things feel incredibly butter smooth. Again, there's that satellite style D-pad that was kind of made famous from the Xbox Elite controller. I love these things. But again, you can change it out to the regular cross D-pad as well. Now, size-wise, it's pretty similar to the Switch 2 Pro controller as well. You can see right here, they line up pretty perfectly. The Chit 2 has a similar matte finish here on the handles, and on the back, you even get a texturized finish there for better grip. But on the front, you get this awesome glossy faceplate that actually can pop right off with the D-pad. Now, I don't know if Mobapad's selling these faceplates separate yet. It's mostly just for swapping out your D-pads, but in the future, they could make some awesome looking faceplates as well. And there we have the regular style D-pad on here. I gotta say, it feels lightweight, very comfortable in the hand. The shoulder buttons are gonna feel a little bit different than the Switch 2 Pro controller. You can see they're quite the different shape here. This almost has like more of a traditional Xbox style shape, while this has its own unique shape. And these are clicky and have that texturized grip on them as well. Now, over here on the back, you'll see our 2 back buttons here. Again, you can map those by clicking our settings button up front here, and there's the charging contact pin along with the mode switch. First impressions, and again, remember, these are my original thoughts and impressions. I'm not sponsored in that type of way. This controller feels absolutely incredible. I'm gonna go ahead and use the Chit 2 controller for a couple hours. I'll hop back in and give you guys my feedback. Several hours later, I'm back, and I've been gaming with Mobapad's Chit 2 Pro controller for about 3 or 4 hours now. And I gotta say, this thing has absolutely lived up to the hype. Now, what does that mean? That means I think the Chit 2 might be the best third-party controller we've gotten for the Switch 2 so far. And that's saying a lot, because the Switch 2 has had some awesome third-party accessories come out in the 6 or 7 months that it's been out. Now, let me explain why the Chit 2 is the best third-party controller so far. It takes the awesome selling points of the Switch 2 Pro controller and makes them even better by costing less and putting better technology in there. And the best example of that is hands down the analog sticks. What made the Switch 2 Pro controller stand out to pretty much everybody was those buttery smooth analog sticks. And I've said it 100 times already, but the Chit 2 has that same exact buttery feel. And I mean almost exactly the same buttery smooth feel. But they take it a step further with TMR analog sticks, which again is like the best kind of analog stick on the market right now. It's gonna prevent you from getting drift. It's got a great response rate, and it comes in at like $20 to $25 cheaper than the official controller. Now, another feature that the Chit 2 has that the Switch 2 Pro controller had is the ability to wake up your console. Now, when it came to pairing the Chit 2, it was incredibly easy. You just go to the typical pairing screen, you hold down your home button, and voila, the controller's synced. You have to do an extra step to make sure the controller can actually wake up the console from sleep. So after doing the typical sync process, you just take off the left Joy-Con, the color on your controller should change to blue, and then from there it's completely synced up to your Switch console and can wake up your Switch 2 from sleep. And again, the Chit 2 only costs $49.99. That is a great price point for having those two abilities. And again, another great selling point that the original Pro controller doesn't even have is the ability to swap out the D-pads. I love the look and feel of the satellite dish D-pad. I fell in love with it on the original Xbox Elite controller. So personally, I'm gonna keep using that, but I know that's not everybody's jam. So I love the fact that you can just pop off the magnetic faceplate and throw on the original cross D-pad. Now, when it comes to the D-pad and face buttons, again, they are mechanical. It's gonna give you that clicky response. I'll let you listen to what it sounds like right here. And that's right, even the RT and LT triggers have that. The bumper has their own unique sound. I wouldn't say it's mechanical. So if you love clicky sound effects, you're gonna love that controller. It's not overboard, but you can feel that satisfying click. And if you've ever used a Mobapad controller in the past or any of the Joy-Cons, they all had the mechanical buttons on there, so you'll know what I'm talking about. This is a low-key feature that a lot of people probably wouldn't care about, but I love the fact that the handles had the textured grip on them and the triggers had the textured grip on them as well. And one of my last notes on the Chit 2 is it's a true Pro controller. I feel like I could use that controller with any style of game, whether I need quick and fast responses or, you know, I'm just playing like Stardew Valley or something and just relaxing. This controller can tackle all of your needs. Shout out to Mobapad for sending over the Chit 2 over for review. Let me know if you've ever used a Mobapad product before, if you picked up the Chit 2 and what you thought of it based on this video.